I'm always back and looking around at the changes daily. There are changes every time.
Is there much left of the old Salford that you remember, really?
Well, yeah, there's quite a considerable area, but that's booked for destruction.
Do you think it should be destroyed? Do you think it's a good thing?
Well, it was so insanitary, you know, and not that I like the high-rise flats so much, because that again is poor people when they're stuck down on the top. It's not the neighborliness, that's the thing that's been destroyed. And I noticed that they're bringing back the terraced houses now in Manchester, which is an excellent thing, because you're on the ground level and everybody knows everybody else, and the conditions of life are so much improved now. You can't well, you shouldn't compare anyway, but oh, it's such a change. I mean, this was our typical playground. We call this a croft.
What sort of games would you play on an area like this then?
Well, anything that was going, football, fights, any grudge fight, on here.
Do you think lads were better fighters in those days? Do you think lads fought more?
Again, I wouldn't like to compare, but there were some tough lads there. Every street had the cock of the street. And if 5 lads from another street would come along and say, "You Walter Greenwood?" Aye, just to fancy the chances. What, 5 on you? Right.
What's got 5 on you?
That means 5 fighting 1.
Ah.
But the rule was, if the lad who was on his own, the cock of our street, knocked anybody down on the knees or on the backside, that was finished. They got up and walked away. But they usually kept their good lad to about the 4th down the line, hoping one would get a good clout in. Then he'd get a bit of an easy job. And I saw Bert Haring go through the 5 of them. They kicked off the clogs in stocking feet, you know, no kicking. And he lined them up and he went right down, bang, bang, bang. Wonderful job. Of course, we were cheering him like mad.
Tell me how they used to get on in the old days in a street like this. Did they used to deliver the coal down these cobbled streets?
Yes.
Could people afford coal always in those days?
Oh, no, they had to be careful, you know. Plenty of slack. We used to go out with a bag and a homemade push cart and a couple of old four home old pram wheels with a board on, go to Agecroft pits and scrabble them out amongst the spoil and get the bits of coal.
That's slack?
Yeah. Or bits of cobbles, you know. And then the coal would go down these grids. But usually they took it down the back entry and tipped it on the floor in the back. No, Sam, it used to be, when I was, they had a hand cart. That's right, yeah. And they used to shout, "Donkey, brownstone, bones," for old bones and old rags and everything. But now you've got a horse and cart. They used to come out with them in a little bag, you know, bits and pieces, and he'd assess the value. If it was worth a donkey stone, he'd have one penny.
At the end of Love in the Dole, you had the young couple looking out on top of a hillside at the great socialist future that was to come of a hopeful, brave new world. And this is really it. It's all been changed. Hankey Park's come down. Do you think it's exactly what you expected? Is this what you expected?
You never got what you expect, because everything's an approximation. There are 2 sides to every question, and this is the best we could, the first step forward, the first definite, productive step forward.
Have there been any surprises for you? Things turned out differently than you expected?
But so definitely there's been a marvellous change for the better in the way the children who were children at the beginning of the war, they were given vitamins and milk. And look at the size of them now. Nearly all 6 foot. And the educational opportunities after the war. And, well, we did our fighting for what we saw, and it's their generation to do the fighting of today.
So you think the new Salford has lost something and gained something?
Well, to gain one thing, you're bound to lose something else. But the cost of that neighbourliness, when wages were as they were then, it was a scandal, a living scandal to the British Empire. The wages, the miserable wages that were paid. People having to go to pawn their own bedding on a Monday morning. I just couldn't understand why. Well, of course, the people down in London didn't know. the north was the north, some wild place that they invested the money in, and didn't know the effect of the on humanity. And that produced that wonderful neighbourliness, that friendship. All together, any trouble, they were all together. And well, the new generation doesn't know about that, because why should they? They're living a wonderful life now. He's doing some business now. Sold it.
All right, Mark.
Wonderful. Dress him up for May Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Did they make a lot of money out of it in the old days?
No.
It did, up and down. Yeah. Yeah. But it was a good hard push with those carts, wasn't it? Two-wheeled.
All around here with that cart when all the others up on Gossip Street and
Yeah.
they call it back handles for a pint.
Yes, yes.
And the one at the top here, the lamb.
And they used to go do a bit of fighting on Saturday night down on Russell Street, didn't they?
All right. Not bad.
Lock him out and he'd kick the front door in. Okay. Run them down to the tallow and make candles. Yeah.
You don't get the young ones today, that's where, they don't want them, they just want a tin of paint and paint the step.
And when she'd done the front door step, and the lads used to
Watch
get
your
off my
feet."
stone here, to make imprints of the feet on them.
What sort of money would they get for a donkey stone?
Well, you used to have to buy them. Well, years ago, you could get them for, 8p a piece, but now we get them for, well, you can't buy them anyway. If you do eventually get one where you can buy them, there's only about 3 new pence for one now.
Yeah. It's a brown stone, wasn't it? Brown and white stone.
Brown, cream and white.
Soft stone.
Yeah. As hard as Yorkshire hard.
Yeah.
Was there a good living, do you think, in Totting in the old days?
Well, it was
Up and down,
it was very hard work, long
Hard
hours, wasn't
work.
it? You might have a lucky draw.
You might have a lucky draw.
Mm.
And would you have a horse and cart in the old days or not?
Well, I never saw one. It was all a hand cart.
Oh, hand cart some days.
Pushing it along through the streets.
So you had to hump the clothes into the hand cart and then hump the hand cart?
They're not them days all finished now. It's just say you only get the old people come out now for the stone.
Yes.
The young ones now, it's all painting the steps and all these
Yes,
flats. You don't
yes.
need them in these flats now.
But it was a lovely, pretty pattern.
Oh,
All the streets then.
all right. Same as May Day. May Day's played out now. Just
It was a
you
shame.
see the
that.
co-op horses when I was a kid on May Day up and down the lane. The old coal horses in the shires. And the old milk wagons. Them days have all gone now. Same as New Year.
Well,
kids,
they used to
kids
have-
used to get on New Year.
Do you remember
New
some-
Year
a
in
fortnight
apple and
bef-
orange, but not now.
No. Orange with a pig in its mouth. Not to go sulking if you didn't get everything your own way. Nobody ever does.
Do you think the tower blocks are a good thing?
Well, I don't like them myself, no. I noticed that the tendency now among the housing committee of the big towns is to refurbish the terraced flats, the terraced houses.
I wish they did more of it. They don't do very much.
So do I, because I don't like this living up in the clouds. There's an air of neighbourliness gone.
So you think Manchester's lost something and gained something?
But you get the rough head and the others who won't fit in, the teddy boys. Nothing you can do about them.
That's fine, Mike.
In and out all the time, weren't they?
Yes.
And if you were sick, they'd bring you something to eat.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Even though they got little for themselves.
Yes.
But
it's true.
those days are gone now,
Oh, yes.
and a good
Oh.
job to him anyways.
Oh, yes. I don't think it's bad now, no matter. It used to be horrible in them days.
Oh, it was terrible.
And
I mean, you never knew when your bus was going to get out to work, locked out.
Oh, he was lucky if he had a good job.
Yeah, yeah.
He was very lucky.
If you worked on the docks, terrible that, wasn't it?
Yes.
2 days and then out.
Yes,
Mm.
it's terrible. But they used to help one another, as I say, but it was very miserable.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, it was a one big struggle to get a meal, wasn't it?
Yes, because they used to have to go down to the, what's his name, and stay all year.
Down to the Dole or?
Go, tell them,
To the
no,
workhouse?
yes, and tell them all about yourself
Yeah.
and all the rest of it.
Mm.
Not very nice, you know, really.
They offered my mother £0.50 for 3 people.
Yes,
3 people, £0.50 a week.
yeah, terrible. Oh no, I don't think money's bad now.
Oh no, the children are well fed. They're big,
They're
strong
beautiful
people.
now.
Yeah,
Simply because they're well fed.
yeah.
That's the reason.
Well, they were given the vitamins at the beginning of the war, and all the milk, you know,
Yes.
other food, and the wonderful educational opportunities.
Oh, I think those that have got in now, the councillors that have got in now, I think they're really wonderful.
Yes, yes. Oh,
Because
yes.
they don't neglect anybody if they.
No. Thank you, love. But everybody the front door was never closed. It's only me, love. You know, they come in to see how people were.
Yes, warmer feelings in those days.
Oh, yes, a great feeling of brotherliness.
We're only photographing Mr. Greenwood now, love. Don't worry. We're only photographing Mr. Greenwood, so don't worry. Your face.
Okay. Right, start walking.
Would they be able to afford coal in the old days? Would you always have a good
Well,
fire?
they'd have a good fire. Well, that was the way to keep warm. And there was no baths in the house. It was on a nail in the backyard wall, a big zinc bath. And sometimes you have a downers fire, an uppers fire, if water was short. A stand-up one, you know. But the miners used to come back, they have to have it every night.
Yes, you'd need a bath if you were
Oh,
in
yes, yeah.
all through, not just a downers fire and an uppers
No,
fire.
that woman scrubbing his back.
Yes.
Mm. But the big thing about it was everybody helped each other. Even if it was very little, they'd find something to share with an old person or a young person.
And it must have been a pretty hard job delivering coal in those days. You
I don't
wouldn't get
think they
much
bothered
money
about
for
it.
it.
No, well, the miners got very little. But they managed to get round somehow. In any emergency, in any crisis, they were all together. It was a wonderful feeling.
I should think there'd always be people sitting on the front doorsteps chatting to the neighbours, wouldn't there?
Oh, yes, yes. And a wonderful thing to see was in the hot days of July, they used to send a water cart round the corporation full of sprinklers to lay the dust. And all the kids used to jump out, little kids nothing on, prancing underneath this spray, and, you know, really having a marvellous time with the water. Oh, yes, it was a wonderful sight, that. Wonderful thing for a film.
Not public swimming
shame.
baths in those days.
Oh, there were, yes, but this was a free bath. Dancing about in the street. Oh, it's marvellous. Spontaneously done.
And these doorsteps haven't changed very much, have they?
No, no. Except they used to use a rubbing stone. And right round here they'd do. Up the wall, some of them did.
Could we have a stop, Michael?
Yes.
You ready?
You can walk.
We'll all of us be
Yeah.
moving if you just walk up. Would they have had a good fire then in the old days? Would
Course.
there be plenty of
Well,
coal?
they bought what they could afford, and then they'd go scrabbling. Sure. But to eke that out, they'd send the lads out to the coal spoil heaps
To get slapped?
at the pit.
Curved, don't forget.
Wycroft.
Oh, I suppose it was an old name, you know, like a crofter, but
What
this
sort
was...
of games would you play here?
Well, we played Piggy, We played football, but always with a paper, newspaper, square ball, kicking that about. And then we played.
What's piggy?
Piggy is a little chip of wood, sharpened at one end. You tapped it, and it jumped in the air, and you gave it a whack. And then you gave so many strides to where it had fallen.
Is that a game of skill?
Well, they still play, you know.
Do they?
That is the men in the country, but they have young lads to do the striding. You know, the leaps from the piggy stone right the way to where the piggy had stopped.
But it wasn't a
But
particularly healthy place to play on, a sort of
you didn't-
rubbish dump like this, was
nothing
it?
else but that it was. And before you played piggy, you always said, all pay for your own china. That was when, if you smashed a window, well, you just disappeared. Nobody had ever done it. Just gone. and the fathers and the mothers were there, you know. Go on, Belgium Jack. And, well, this was a game. This is the sort of place.
Thanks, Mr. Greenwood. That'll do for here. That's lovely.